Hi, I'm Anna. Welcome back to our prenatal classes. So today we're looking at the theme of strength and stamina. This can be looked at in a few different ways. I think for me, when I first thought of strength and stamina in relation to pregnancy, birth, and postpartum, it can seem like that relates to getting through it, that a lot of us apply that sort of mentality to other areas of our life. We're going to be strong and endure and get through. There can be an element of that here, but today what we're going to look at is strength in a number of different ways. So yes, there's physical strength in the body that is required to carry a baby to term and to birth that baby and to recover. And the human body is incredibly capable of that and built for that and is incredibly strong in that way, even though complications sometimes can arise. But what we're going to look at today as well is the inner strength that is required, not only to get through this, to endure, but to find the strength to voice what you need in this experience, to find the strength to stand up for yourself. And especially as women, commonly, we have this bit of a good girl thing going on. I know I definitely have had that and am still working on that. And for many of us, that is there. We don't want to rock the boat, don't want to upset anybody, keep everything nice, keep that bit of a quiet voice and be the good girl. And I think that finding your strength in this context, when you are birthing a baby, looking after a baby in those early days, weeks, months as well, requires actually some strength to ask for what you need, to say no, some things are not okay, and to really stay true to your intuition and what it is that you know is right for you, for your baby, for your family. So we're also going to focus on that today. So I'll get you to close your eyes down and just in a comfortable seat. And as you start to become aware of the breath, so that nice steady inhale and exhale in and out through the nostrils, feeling that breath traveling down deep into the lungs. Really finding a bit more expansion on the inhale. Can you breathe right down into the belly, into the back ribs? And while you're starting to become more aware of that breath, then I'd encourage you to look at just some of the beliefs that you might have or thoughts or feelings around your strength. So think about how you feel about your ability to get through this experience, your birth experience primarily, but also postpartum as well. Is there strong beliefs there, thoughts or ideas that come up around your capability to do this thing, which is joyful and also extremely challenging for many? And if there happens to be some doubts or fears there, then that's okay. That's pretty normal. I think most people have that to a degree. But just sit with that and perhaps start to challenge some of those ideas, even if you don't quite believe it yet. Just toying with the idea that some of those more negative beliefs about your capability might not be true. that there is a deep inner strength within you to find that inner voice, and to dig deep, to be not only to get through this experience, but to be present, to own it, to feel empowered no matter what happens during your birth. Gently opening your eyes. Lovely. So on our theme of strength and stamina, we are going to be exploring a bit of a stronger practice today. But first of all, let's just warm up a little bit in the body. So coming up into a toe sit position. So toes are tucked under. If this is just too painful for you, if you're not used to this kind of movement for the feet, then you could just take a high kneeling position instead, so there's a bit less pressure on the toes. Okay, so here we're going to bring the arms forward and bring the hands together, really rounding through the shoulder blades. As you exhale, driving the elbows towards each other, but keeping a little tuck through the tail. So pelvis tucks under so that we're keeping that length through the lumbar spine, the lower back. Inhale, hands together. Exhale, open out, keeping that little tuck. One more time. Little side bends here. Right arm comes up and over. And switch over. Left arm reaches up and over, planting down through that opposite hip. So you really feel this nice stretch through the side body. Nice. This time, right arm comes up and over, left hand comes down to the floor, a block or a bolster, and reaching up and over. Keep that breath going, nice and steady, in and out through the nose if you can. Beautiful. Bringing the hands out in front in a loose fist and taking some wrist circles. As you circle, bring the arms up overhead and shake down. Other direction. A few cracks and pops in mine. And shake it down. Okay. Bringing the hands up overhead again. This time, I'm going to take the hands into a loose fist and then stretch the palms out open. If you're still in toe sit, you're doing well. If you need a little rest, you can come out, but keep with the arms. Starting to open and close the fists, and then just speed it up a little bit. See if you can still keep the shoulders relaxed so we're not shrugging the shoulders up around the ears. And being mindful again of that little tuck through the pelvis. So we're keeping that length through the back. Nice. I know, starting to build. We're waking up the forearms, the wrists, and the hands. A little bit more. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring them down. Okay, if you are still in toe sit, amazing. Mine really starting to feel it. Now we'll all come up into a high kneeling position. You can keep the toes tucked or come onto the tops of the feet. Arms are going to come out to the side at about shoulder height. Getting my pot plant there. And starting some little circles forward. Nice. So you'll notice that the body is moving slightly here as well with the movement of the arms, but we're trying to limit too much swaying. So we don't want huge swaying of the torso. Now, whilst your shoulders will start to feel this, mostly here we're using this as a core stability exercise. So the body, the core, has to stabilize you to stay up here with the movement of the arms. It's a really nice, gentle core exercise during pregnancy. Nice. Come back to the breath. Make the circles a little bigger. Notice where your mind is going. We're starting to add a little bit of intensity to our movements. Be cursing me, that's fine. You might want to turn off the video. See if you can just stay with that feeling of intensity and notice where the mind goes and just come back to the breath. Nice. And circles a little smaller again. A little smaller. And back. Keep them up if you can, I know. But we're using these feelings of intensity in the muscles to really examine where our mind goes when things get tough. Keep them up. We're going back. Little circles. Keep the breath. It'll help, I promise. Inhale, exhale. Nice and steady and calm and slow. Make the circles a little bigger. A little bigger. And a little smaller. We're almost there. Keep going. Little smaller and still. Hold and breathe. Close the eyes if you like. And bring them down. Ooh. Well done. I know that was tough. All right, now we're going to come over onto hands and knees. Let's move my prop out the way. So you're in your all fours position, and we're just going to warm up a little bit more through the spine with some more cat-cow movements here. So rounding through the back, press the floor away. And here, just being mindful that we're not rounding too much through the thoracic spine, so the upper back, and leaving the lumbar spine behind, because we have a tendency to do that. The thoracic spine is better at rounding. So from here, keep the upper back where it is. See if you can tuck the pelvis under just a little bit more, like there's a string attached to the front of your pubic bone. It's being pulled forward. Nice. And release back to neutral. So here again, we don't want to exacerbate that lumbar arch. So keeping the lumbar spine where it is, so tucking a little bit under the pelvis, and see if you can just drop the chest down towards the floor. So the shoulder blades are coming together, and then press back up into our cat position. So press the floor away, tuck the pelvis forward, shoulders away from the ears, so like you're pulling the hands back towards the feet. Beautiful. Back to neutral. Keep that little tuck under the pelvis and drop the chest down towards the floor. So shoulder blades together. Beautiful. Okay, we're going to add a little bit of pelvic floor work here. So as you push the floor away, round through the back, that's when we're going to lift and squeeze the pelvic floor, but not just yet, just getting ready to do that because we're going to combine it with the breath. Back to neutral, keep the tuck, chest drops towards the floor. Okay, this time, inhale to prepare, exhale, as we round, see if you can lift and squeeze the pelvic floor. It's like that string pulling up through the middle of the pelvic floor. And inhale, release. Keep the pelvis where it is. Drop the chest. Back to neutral. Inhale, prepare. Exhale. Lift and squeeze as you round the back. Tuck the pelvis. Inhale, release. Exhale. Inhale, last one. Exhale. Lift and squeeze as you round. Pelvic floor lifting. Inhale, relax. Exhale, fully release. Beautiful. Okay, from here we're going to press straight back up into downward dog. So if you don't feel comfortable with that, you'll just come into child's pose or puppy pose. Tuck the toes under, nice and wide with the knees, so we have lots of room for the belly. Lifting and send the hips back. Nice. Find your breath again. Inhale, exhale through the nose. You can keep a bend in the knees here. Might feel nice to walk out the legs. Press the hands into the floor firmly. Nice and long through the spine. Keeping the gaze steady. Okay. From here, start to walk the hands back towards the feet. You can turn the toes out a little bit more and then press yourself up to stand. Coming to the front of your mat. Okay. Take the feet about hip width apart. Inhale as we bend through the knees, coming into chair pose. So again, tucking the pelvis slightly under so we get that length through the spine, and hold here. So arms are active, but shoulders away from the ears. Slowly start to press up, not all the way to straight. Bring the weight into the left foot. See if you can step back with the right foot into our crescent lunge. Open out the chest into cactus arms. Gaze stays slightly up and lifted. Nice steady breath. Okay, we're preparing to open out into our warrior two. So you might need to widen the stance slightly, plant the heel of the back foot, and the arms come out long. Press the feet down into the floor. Nice and strong. Perhaps you can come a little lower with the legs. Lovely. Let's reverse our warrior. Turn the palm of the front hand up, and without lifting height from that front leg, stay in that lunge. We reach back. Beautiful. Back to warrior two. From here, we're going to come back into our crescent lunge. So you might want to step in slightly. And we're going to work into a half moon. So, should have prepared our props earlier. If you have a block handy, bring that to the front of the mat. You could use a cushion or anything just to prop up your hand. If you don't have anything, I'll give an option for that too. So you'll start to step in a little bit closer, bringing weight into the front foot. The block is for your left hand there. You can bend the left knee slightly as you start to make your way into a little balance. Keeping the right toes touching the floor, this might be enough, especially if you don't have a prop. You'll just reach down towards the floor and hold here, perhaps finding a couple little moments of balance with the foot. Otherwise, you could try come a little higher, hand into the prop, and starting to open out that right hip. Gaze can stay down, or you can take your gaze out. Oh, I can take my gaze to my monstera. Lovely. With control, we're going to start to step back if you are lifted. All the way back to our crescent lunge. Reaching forward with the arms, and in one step if you can, or take a few if you need, stepping back to chair. Nice and low. Keep that tuck through the pelvis and lift it up. Nice work. Take a little breath here if you need it. Inhale. Arms come up. Sit back in your chair. Nice steady breath. Lift up slightly, weight into the right foot. And we step back with the left into our crescent lunge. Open out through the arms into cactus. Hold here. Find that breath again. Feel the power building within you with these strong movements. Opening out into warrior two. Plant the back heel. Lengthen the stance if you need to. Nice and strong and active through the legs. Pressing the heels down into the floor. Big toe of the front foot firmly planted. Arms are active. Maybe a little lower into your lunge. Turn the palm of the front hand. Without coming out of the lunge, we reach back. Slowly coming forward. We sweep the arms back into our crescent lunge. Get your block ready if you need that. And we'll prepare for our half moon on the right side. So reaching forward with the arms, step forward with the left foot. Start to bring weight into the right foot. You can hold here. Adjust your block as you need to. Perhaps you find a little bit of balance. Opening that left hip out. Left arm stretching up towards the ceiling. Gaze can be down, out to the side. If you really want a challenge and you're feeling pretty stable, you can gaze up at the left hand. Okay, slowly coming out. Bend a little into the right leg. Left foot comes down. And we sweep all the way back into our crescent lunge. Reaching forward with the arms and stepping into chair. Little tuck under of the pelvis, strong through the legs, and we press up to stand. Well done. Take a moment here in mountain pose. Ground down into the earth with the feet, perhaps even lifting the toes and spreading them wide and placing them down again. Palms face forward. That nice long spine. Feel the weight of the belly trying to pull the pelvis forward and keep that little tuck under. Feel that energy of the movements and the strength that we just worked rippling through the body, the heat, the sensation. And coming back to the beginning of the practice where we brought our attention to perhaps some negative thoughts, feelings or beliefs about our strength and our ability to go through this experience. See if anything shifted. If not, that's okay too. Okay. From here, if you're still facing forward, just step out wide to the long side of your mat. It doesn't have to be too wide, just into a straddle position. And then take the toes slightly out to the corners of the mat and sit down into our goddess pose. So this is a beautiful pose for strengthening the legs, starting to feel like we could open the pelvis for birth. and to work on our strength and stamina. So sitting a little lower if you can. Let's bring the hands into prayer at the heart center. Think about driving the knees out, away from each other, and leaning slightly back with the torso, tucking that pelvis under. Find that breath. And press up. I know, I can feel it too. We're not quite done yet. Coming back down. Okay, taking your left arm, forearm, to the left thigh, and then let's take a little side bend here, reaching up and over with the top arm. Back through center, and switch it over. Back through center, other side. I know, we're almost there. I'm distracting you with arm movements. But you probably haven't forgotten about your legs, right? Beautiful. Back through center, hands to heart center, a little bit lower, and breathe. And watch the mind going a bit crazy. And up. Well done. Okay, here we're going to get a little into the hips. So bending into the right knee, straightening through the left. Doesn't have to be super low. Coming up. And up. So just working side to side at your own pace. And then once you have a feel of that, we'll add a little bit of arm movement. So opening out the arms. You can be creative here as well. You can do whatever you like with the arms, but start to make it fluid. Coming back to that breath. The breath is probably a little quick and fast. It's the same thing. You know what I mean? So just starting to slow the breath and make it a little more even and smooth again. If you feel quite comfortable with these, you can come a little lower, coming down towards the floor. Don't have to, you can stay up a little higher. Especially coming down low, if you're a little bit further in your pregnancy, can be a bit uncomfortable with the leg on the belly. Okay, and making your way back to center. So here, taking the toes face forward, we're going to do a little forward fold here, wide-legged forward fold. So a couple of options. If you have a prop handy, some cushions or a bolster is ideal, just to have in front of you for a bit of support. If putting your head down towards the floor today is not happening, if you're feeling a little bit nauseous or it's just a bit much, then you'll just use the wall. So hands on the wall, feet in that straddle position, but just lowering the head down and using the wall for support. Otherwise, start to slowly bring the hands down to your bolster or cushions. Lengthen the spine here, inhale. Exhale as you start to lower the head down towards the floor. Forearms and even the head can rest onto your prop. You can just adjust as you need to with the legs. Perhaps you want to even come a little lower, that's fine. If you feel comfortable, you can take the forearms down towards the floor.
So we're starting to wind down the practice now, but still a little bit of activation through the legs. So pressing the feet firmly into the floor and pulling slightly up to engage the quadriceps, like you're trying to pull the knee up towards the hip. Just a gentle activation. Using that breath here, nice and even and steady. Lovely. Beginning to slowly come out of this pose. So coming up nice and slow to avoid any dizziness and fast changes in blood pressure. So coming up halfway, pausing there. And then perhaps walking the feet a little bit closer. And then coming all the way back up. Heel toe the feet in just a little wider than hip width, and we'll lower all the way down into a squat. If you need a supported squat, you just sit up on your cushion or bolster. Closing the eyes down. If you prefer to come to a seated position, cross-legged or kneeling, then that's fine too. Lovely. So either staying here or feel free to come into your final relaxation pose, a shavasana, perhaps left side lying or reclined on a bolster, or just stay seated. Lovely. So I'd invite you to do a little bit of homework after this class, perhaps a little bit of journaling. So you could write down some of those thoughts that came up around your strength and ability to birth your baby and to recover. There's often a lot of negativity from our culture as well around a woman's ability to birth a baby. Often there's things like you're too old, too overweight, the baby's too big. Your placenta is not coping, or there's all these different things where we start to really believe that our bodies aren't capable of doing this, of carrying the pregnancy and then of birthing the baby and of recovery. There's a lot of fear around the birth, of my body being ruined. The pregnancy and the birth have, ruined my body and I'm never going to be the same again. There's a lot of these type of things. Or also, I won't be strong enough to give birth. There's a lot of negativity around labor itself and the pain and the difficulty and the potential complications. So we're bombarded with this all the time. So just see if you can write down some of the beliefs that you have. Perhaps they're things that you've picked up along the way, and just challenge them a bit. Why do I believe this? Where did it come from? And is it true for me? Some of them might feel really strong beliefs, and focusing on these in meditation, looking, where do I feel this in my body? And am I really listening actually to my intuition, to what my body is saying?
And remember that your body knows how to do this. You are strong enough physically. And even if you don't feel strong enough emotionally and mentally, then this is where we're doing the work to build that confidence in yourself, that you can find that inner voice, that you can say what it is that you need, that you go into your birthing experience and afterwards feeling knowledgeable and equipped to handle whatever comes. Okay, let's finish the practice today with 2 Oms together. If you're lying down in your Shavasana, please feel free just to stay there. If you'd like to join in the Oms, then let's just bring the hands to heart center. Inhaling together. Namaste. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you again really soon. Bye.